Boston Bruins just sent a serious message to the NHL after this win against the Washington Capitals. I want to go live for this one because this was a game that I thought the Bruins played the best of the season. Without a shadow of a doubt, this team looked connected. Now, there was a lot of things that we got to talk about coming out of this game. Injuries, penalties, the win, Charlie Lindgren being lost in the corner on the game-winning goal. This was a very, very good game from the Boston Bruins. This is one that was a very much needed win going into the Christmas break. 100%. What a game that was. I got a few screenshots here that I'll wait for a few more people to get in here before we kind of go break down every single aspect of this game. But, yeah, you're right, Kevin. It was a full 60-minute win of this game. That penalty kill on the major from Oliver Wahlstrom was such a good one. One shot, they said on the broadcast, for the Capitals on that, but I'm counting it as 0 because we didn't see it. They said it came up as 1 afterwards, but I'm counting that as 0. That was an absolutely unbelievable game. I'm going to pull up the box score first. Kind of going over this, Justin Brazeau, Charlie Coyle, Brad Marchand, Elias Lindholm, the goal scorers in this one. Elias Lindholm, they hated him on the ice tonight. The Capitals absolutely hated Elias Lindholm, and that's a big thing for this game. That was a big aspect of this game. You know, Swayman doing what he needed to. Not very many shots against, 12 shots against, but good that he's staying warm on those, on the whole opportunity, the whole game. You never know when the Capitals, especially the way they are now, coming down, could go ahead and straight up get a goal, but and this was a fantastic game that the Bruins needed, as I mentioned, going into the Christmas break. But there was a lot of stuff in this game that were a bit concerning as well. You know, a very good, fun game to watch, especially here on Tibbs Eve in Newfoundland. Christmas Eve in about 42 minutes, I think. And then, you know, this is exactly what we need to go into the break. 27th is our next game. We're going to have another one against the Capitals very, very soon. And this was a great way to start it off, especially having 2 games that we should likely get a win here against the Blue Jackets after Christmas, the 27th and the 28th. Going against those 2 games, Columbus, those should be 2 wins. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, however. We need to still take this with a grain of salt. We still need to work on being able to win every single possible game because, you know, it's the NHL. Columbus still win a game, but if the Bruins are playing this way, there's 0 chance. Then watching again, the struggling Rangers. Maybe we see Chris Kreider in a Bruins uniform. Maybe a little hint at a video coming tomorrow for Christmas Eve. And January 4th against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Some big games ahead. But how does everyone like Lindholm now? I absolutely agree, Kevin. That is a question that needs to be asked on Twitter or something. But he is certainly coming into shape. You know, we started off slow, and I think the whole team did. You don't want to put it on him in specific. The whole team definitely started off a little bit slow, but now we're really seeing why the Bruins went out and got Elias Lindholm. He is making such a difference in these games. Being able to hit, being able to win a faceoff, being able to play defensively, being able to play offensively. Every aspect of the game tonight, he was involved in. And that was something that we really have been lacking the past few years. Is someone other than Brad Marchand who's been able to be in every single aspect of the game. And Elias Lindholm looked like vintage Brad Marchand there tonight in a good way. In a very, very good way, you know. Being able to get into your opponent's head, being able to still play on the offense, every aspect of the game was such a good one for him. I do not have any stats from him in specific other than the box score there, but I did want to pull up this one because this really is a good team stat to show the dominance of this game from the Boston Bruins. 22 shots to Washington's 11, 66% on the faceoff, and I believe up until about 5 minutes left in the third, this was at 74%. That's an insane faceoff percentage against the Washington Capitals, who have a lot of great, you know, centermen that can win some faceoffs, especially when you need them. Although Ovechkin was out, they still had that group of wins that, you know, Ovechkin wouldn't have changed. They're still a very, very good team. Charlie Lindgren was absolutely lost, though, on this one. Let's have a look at this once again. This is a very, very embarrassing screenshot for this. So let's just be honest, you know, that was a tough, but the Capitals still very good. You know, we can't take that away from them. They were on the back-to-back, good point edited, so they did have a little bit of exhaustion there, I'd say, but the Bruins coming out fresh, these are the games you got to take advantage of. These are definitely the games you got to take advantage of, especially when this team is playing the way it is. Looks very, very good. What would you give up for Chris Kreider? That's a good one, Benjamin. This is This is one thing that I will touch on a bit in a video tomorrow, so be sure to check that out if you want. I don't really go over who will be in a trade. However, I kind of break down everything that's going on right now, and there are a few options. You know, I'd say Trent Frederic could be one. It really depends on the Rangers. I think the Rangers are very much losing leverage at this point. Right now, as well, obviously we see Chris Kreider as a healthy scratch here today in this game earlier, and we also have, you know, a lot of different stuff coming about this team. So I don't think it's going to be as much as a lot of people are thinking at this very moment, but I don't want to go too much into that just in case right yet, because I feel like something more will come out. So right now, I think my answer could be different today to tomorrow, to Christmas Day, to Boxing Day, to whenever. Every day, I think the answer will change for that. It always matters when Ovi's there. Yeah, you know, Ovi tonight, especially with the penalties that the Bruins took. We know Ovi's spot. We know most power play goals of all time. He certainly would have been a factor there tonight, but, you know, this Washington Capitals team, although they looked okay, they didn't look as good as we know we could see them, which is something that they got to take into consideration heading into next game after the holiday break, because this team is not going to come out again, like the Capitals, that being coming out again like this next time we play them. They're going to come out harder, they're going to come out healthier, and Ovechkin should be back after that break, so that will be another thing they're going to have to clean up, is the penalty taking, if Ovechkin is back, because that could be a very, very big issue. Well, Ryan, I'm telling you, I'm right there as well. You know, when the Bruins are bad, we got to call them out. You know, although I'm sure some people have seen it, they're not directly reading everything, but the way that, you know, the players are reacting to the fans are reacting to the players, everything like that, that will come into consideration for this team and wanting to play better. So we got to, you know, I'm guilty of it as well, but we got to praise them when games like this come out, and this was something that was excellent to see tonight. Exactly, Ed. That's one thing that I've also been mentioning as well, is that the price needs to be right for Chris Kreider, mainly because the contract to be taking on, we wouldn't assume that the Rangers would be taking on any of that contract, maybe like 10, 15%. I doubt it. But yeah, it's going to be a very high price right now, but my inkling is that it's going to be going down as we progress closer to the New Year's and all that kind of stuff. Kevin, that is very true as well. That the Capitals just ran out of gas. That's when all those Bruins goals came in. It really did. You could see the travel jet lag type of whatever they were dealing with come into factor at the end of this game for them. But this was one that, you know, game is game. The travel sucks, but you got to take advantage of those. So I'm very happy the Bruins were able to do that here tonight. Kreider would look fantastic in the Bruins jersey. You know, I wish I had him edited into one, but I do not actually have one here. But, you know, it's something interesting. It really is, especially when the Bruins are trying to add a bit of offense. Chris Kreider's lacking that this season, but, you know, the Rangers are also lacking just about everything this season. So, you know, we know how some changes like that could come into effect. Some changes of scenery for players comes into effect, and this is one thing that really, I don't know why, but this is sticking to me, that Kreider would be so much better in this jersey right there. It just seems, something about it just seems to click for me. A very good win before Christmas, Jeff. Very, very good. And a much-needed one as well. I'm going to pull up the schedule again right here. Going over these games, you know, especially when we hit the Columbus 2 games, those, I'm going to say it again, I'll knock on wood because it worked out last video that they should win. Don't know if you can hear that, but I just knocked on my desk. They should win these 2 games against Columbus. They should. Washington, there's going to be a very fun game to see how Washington bounce back and how the Bruins can adapt. And then the Rangers and Toronto. 2 very interesting games there as well. But, you know, the next few after the break are going to be the big ones, and hopefully everybody's healed up. Hopefully Pastrnak's all right. That's the big thing we're going to touch on in a little bit. Hopefully Wahlstrom don't face any extra suspension. I personally don't think he will, but we never know with the NHL these days with the player safety. George Peros don't know what he's doing. Just as well as us, everybody here in this chat, and myself were all involved in that and making these suspensions. And who's the third one? Justin Brazeau took a shot at the end of the game, blocked that shot. He was hurting as well on that. So hopefully everybody's healed up, and hopefully there's nothing that kind of goes into a bit of an issue for the Bruins. But Kreider will be a great add, absolutely. And yeah, you know, never know when we hit this the January 2nd against the Rangers, what could happen there. Maybe there's a Bruins doing a bit of scouting in that game. Maybe he's gone before. We don't really know, but it's getting a bit interesting on this term for the New York Rangers. I still think the game was the best. Lindholm Geeky getting their momentum back. Absolutely. And I wouldn't even say back. They're getting it for the first time this season. They started off very slow. Then we started to see a bit more like the past, I would probably say mid-October heading into like mid-November, that area. Now, since about mid-late November to now, we've been seeing some very, very good hockey out of those guys specifically who were trade bait at the beginning of the season, apart from Lindholm, of course. But now they're starting to become a solid piece of this team. We saw Coyle move up. Geeky's been on the first line for the little while now. Everything really seems to be clicking for these guys, and we hope there's no sign of this slowing down. Winning is fine, but we need a contender. If we can't contend, we better go draft picks for Sweeney to trade away. That's the thing as well, that the Bruins have this first round pick for this year, the first time in a long time that they still have that. So, I would have originally said that the Bruins maybe kind of look to wait and see how they were doing at the end of the season, or mid-season, trade deadline, if they were not doing as well as they were at the beginning of the season, kind of staying in that momentum. We kind of move over to keep that pick, kind of work with that. But now, it really seems like this could be a trade piece that if they're looking to get away, because, the playoffs are very tight. I don't have the screenshot here, I don't believe. I do not, but these playoffs are getting very tight, especially with the, obviously there's still lots and lots of time left, but the Maple Leafs, lose today, lose Matthews as well. Don't know how long he's going to be out. That could be a very tough thing for them as well. This Bruins team is looking to get very, very good. We do have a few more games played in a few of those top teams, but still, being up along those names is definitely going to be something that the Bruins are going to look at, be happy about, and still want to dig more and more. Trade bait, clickbait is all the same. I won't say it's not. Definitely got to spread the word a bit, but I might be a bit guilty for that. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, ultimately it was a good win. I did want to pull this one up here. I'm sure you guys seen that while I was skipping through them. From Ty Anderson, upper body injury from Pastrnak, done for the night, by the way. That was earlier about beginning or so of the third period, beginning of mid. And then Wahlstrom, who had moved up to the line to take Pastrnak's spot, just got kicked out of the game 10 seconds into the third. Shoved Farabee from behind, dangerous distance from the boards. Farabee was hurting. 5-minute power play for the Caps. And as you see, we lost two wingers in this game and almost lost Brazeau. That could have been a lot worse, too, than what it looked like. But this is something the Bruins need to be careful with. We don't want to get hurt. We have a lot of players in the AHL that could potentially make the crack here. Come up, Mark McLaughlin still here. Maybe a Lysell, although that ship seems to be sailing a bit. Merrick will have a lot of options, but obviously we want Pastrnak. We want to see Wahlstrom back in this lineup. Played good in this game as well. Without the third, ultimately the penalty was something that we can work on. We can work with. Hopefully there's no suspension out of that, as I mentioned. But this was a big win for the Bruins. A big, I don't want to say comeback win because it wasn't they weren't down or anything, but it really proved a lot from this team and from Joe Sacco as well, especially having to adjust mid-game for Pastrnak being out, adjust to Wahlstrom being kicked out, and having the third period really come out and just be an incredible period for the Boston Bruins with lines being changed and everything. Really the first time since Joe Sacco's beginning of the Bruins as a coach that we saw some line changes mid-game. So I think that this is a very good telltale sign that the Bruins are adapting to their opponents mid-game, something that they seemed to not be able to do earlier in the season where they were just going out and finally figuring out what their opponent could do after they were getting absolutely destroyed and then losing 5-0 or whatever. But it absolutely right. It is very confidence building that we can go out and do this, see injuries, the team bouncing back in mid-game to be able to get to this point. Very big. And huge win, Michael? Absolutely. Especially going into, once again, I'll pull this up, the schedule. Coming off of the Washington game, no longer live, the win of that, of course, but after the break, this is what you want to see coming into it, a win against a very tough Washington team. And they are absolutely improving bit by bit at each game. And, so far, what we've seen from really what we've been able to adjust to and see is that this team has gotten much, much, much better over the past month. And then game by game, we're seeing these little tiny things like Elias Lindholm coming more into himself, being able to become, another Brad Marchand in this lineup while having a bit more of an offensive skill and defensive skill, kind of on that side of things. But it's just exactly what we want to see and what we've been waiting for the Bruins. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, I tweeted this out, in the third period. I was like, this is the Bruins that we've all been wanting to see, that we've been waiting so long to be able to watch. And now it's finally happening. It seems like we're in the right spot. And it's just so encouraging to see as a fan once again, rather than what we were seeing at the beginning of the season. that was a very tough watch to begin with, and I'm not going to lie for that. But, Marchand, Lindholm, Geeky, Coyle, everybody is starting to heat up here, and it's finally happening after such a long wait. Yeah, it definitely is. Montgomery being gone certainly feels like something bigger than what a lot of people are making it out to be. A lot of people are saying, does Jim Montgomery's absence actually make that much of a difference? And it certainly feels like it. It's not even just Montgomery's coaching was bad, but it just seems that they trust Joe Sacco more. And I think that's a big part of what this Bruins team is facing, is the confidence coming out into these games. Yeah, exactly what you're saying there, Omar. Those lines, Marchand, Lindholm, Coyle, Marchand, Lindholm, and Coyle, all three of them, are just playing so good. So good as of late. Playing, they're playing their game. I don't want to say doing anything different. They're just playing their own game. And having Marchand and Lindholm kind of two sides of the coin, it's such a good thing. And having Coyle on this line, especially after coming up, being right wing, I was a bit hesitant on, but he certainly seems to be playing with that ability and that skill to be able to be a right winger. There's no signs of that line slowing down. 8-2-1 their last 11 as well. That's a major turnaround. Exactly. Even when the Bruins are losing those 3 games that they lost, it was a bit, you don't really know what was happening there, especially the overtime one. That one certainly could have been a win, easy as it could have been a loss, but these wins are really going under the radar, and I think a lot of teams should be scared of the Bruins and what this team is pulling out here over the last 11 games here, and a bit more before as well. And Marchand is Jeter. Marchand is Jeter for the Bruins, and that's exactly a very good way to put it. That, we can't let him go. I made a video about Chris Kreider for Brad Marchand, some trade report that came out that's sickening to look at, Although, yes, we'd love Chris Kreider. Chris Kreider would be an amazing addition to this team. We're not trading Marchand for Chris Kreider. That's just not feasible at the moment for the Bruins, nor would it be make any sense for them. Poitras also has been lighting it up in the AHL, Jeff. Absolutely. And he's playing very, very good. That should be an option to call up as well. If anybody's missing any time, the next player needs to be Matt Poitras. 100%. And Zadorov has been playing certainly better. He most certainly has been playing better. Not taking any penalties. I think that was really the start of this turnaround, I feel like. When we're seeing Zadorov actually on the ice, playing clean, although we still can't hit the net to, anything. He cannot hit the net to save his life. He's still playing much, much better. We don't need him for the offense. His first goal being an overtime goal, second goal being the slap shot. That was an absolute missile. He's been playing much better. I'm happy to say that I can trust him on the ice now. And yeah, you're right, Jeff, though. We could see him a little bit better with the money he's making, but, for the size that he is, too, he's playing his game. And I'm happy with that. You're right, Kevin. Nobody's going to want to play this team in the playoffs, especially over these last 11 games. This team has given heart. This team has showed that they want to be here, although they may be a bit, hesitant in certain occasions, maybe a period they're a bit slow. They're bouncing back, especially recently under Joe Sacco. This team is bouncing back after every opportunity, but this team is playoff built. We see everybody on this team just want it. Really, really want it. You're right, Omar. Montgomery was part of the problem. I will absolutely not deny that, especially the way that we've seen this team turn around. That really, to me at least, pointed that out, that was at least some part of the problem. But also, I think that I've mentioned a lot of videos for those who are new. I've been mentioning that, I think that the whole drama with Swayman at the beginning of the season, I think Marchand having multiple surgeries, I think this team really just caught up in all that drama, really just kind of slowed this team down. But now that kind of everything's back in order, back in line, Swayman's playing better, this team is playing better, we're getting back into that system. And that's exactly what we're waiting for. Or what we've been waiting for, I should say. Korpisalo Michael is very, very good. And that's one guy that I haven't really spoke much about outside of videos or games that he's been playing him on, but I need to. I really do need to, because I've mentioned, for those who were here before the season, when we acquired him in that trade, you can go back, check me on this, you can get my records, that I said Korpisalo under Bob Esnasat was going to be one of the best backup goalies in the NHL. And I feel like I called something well before it happened. I trusted Korpisalo. What we've seen from him in the past, He's very good. Very, very good. Ottawa certainly wasn't the best place last season. I think that really drove up his stats for a negative way, but I knew Korpisalo was going to be absolutely incredible with the Bruins. Exactly, Michael, there as well. The Montgomery situation breaking up lines, that really just didn't cross well with me. You need to build chemistry some way, whether it is through wins, whether it's through losses. Some way, something needs to happen. Any updates on Pastrnak? I can have a look. I tried to find some before I went live to put into my screen, like these screenshots here, but there was none available just because, I went live pretty much right after the game ended. But I do not see any updates. It was supposedly, a injury from incidental contact in the middle of the ice. Okay, I do have an update. No update on, well, that's not a very good update, but Joe Sacco said there is no update on Pastrnak. That comes from Scott McLaughlin, Connor Ryan, and Ty Anderson. All of that right now. So we're going to see probably tomorrow some evaluations happen, depending on how severe it is or whatnot. But as of right now, I don't know who said that. Omar, as of right now, there are no updates. Which is not something that I'm a big fan of there. I don't like that too much. Yeah, that 5-minute penalty kill was massive. And for those who were not here at the very first minute of the stream, I said that 5-minute, they had one shot on goal. According to the broadcast, there was one shot on goal, but I'm still calling it no shot. No shots, because it just sounds better. And I don't think there was a shot. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to give the Bruins the benefit of the doubt. Oh, yeah, Korpisalo and Busty certainly would have saved a lot of money, but we're starting to see now the Swayman that we've all been waiting for, making these confidence saves, looking confident, rather than just being in net and doing his job. We're starting to see this very, very good Swayman once again. This was a very important win, mainly because going into, I'll pull up the schedule once again. I pulled this screenshot up so many times, but going into the break, getting a win against the Capitals, who right now, let me have a look at the exact standings, because I don't know after today's wins and losses right now who is. So I'm going to league standings. The Capitals are third in the league right now. A lot of that without Ovechkin too, but having this win tonight, going into the break and looking at Columbus, and Washington once again, then the Rangers. Those 4 games there could certainly be very big wins. Looking at Columbus, those 2 should be wins. Knocking on the desk once again, because, you got to knock on the wood. I don't want to jinx those. Washington's going to be a very interesting game on New Year's Eve. If we can come up another win against this team, holding this team to what we did here in this game, right here, 11 shots and 34% the faceoff. This is a very, very good sign for the Bruins going into the break, then coming out of this with some pretty important matchups, and then going after, of course, New Year's. That's when we're going to start to see a lot of the trade reports coming out and stuff like that, and what the Bruins are going to be looking for, and that's really going to dictate the rest of the season. So I think this is going to be a big sign from this game, and then we kind of go farther from there. Yeah, the Rangers, I think, are going to be tough. I think the Rangers are always going to be tough, but this team seems to have no chemistry from anything. Their GM is going absolutely bananas because he's threatening to trade everybody after any loss. And that's just not the way you can do it. Not the way you need to do it. And, it's just absolutely ridiculous to be able to consider that. And, you're not playing the NHL video game. You're not playing the NHL video game. You're not coming out and, making any trades because someone is not getting the 170 points you want. The Rangers are bad, but you cannot take your veterans out of the lineup and kind of threaten to trade everybody on the team. It just don't make any sense to me. I don't think Oliver deserved a 5-minute misconduct. The guy was weak on his skates. Yeah, I kind of thought that as well. Is that I do have the screenshot of it here, or the clip. No, well, that's a nice one, but right here. This was, a bit of a not great screenshot to choose because it most certainly looked like it was just straight from behind here, but he was on the tips of his skates before there was contact with Wahlstrom, and I think Wahlstrom just a little tiny push just tipped him over, Fairview over, and then ultimately went in. I understand the call. I think it should have been. I could see both sides. I guess it really depended on what they saw, and especially the angle from the boards didn't look great. But ultimately, it sucked. But the Bruins did a very good job killing that penalty, then coming out and changing the lines to be able to go ahead and get more goals to win the game and get some insurance and break that tie. Yeah, Michael, you're absolutely right. This is a Sacco game. This was a Joe Sacco game, from having the defense being able to hold, especially on the penalty kill. We've seen his kind of skill set behind that tonight, while also being able to just transition offense, transition defense. Everything in this game looked so neat and tidy, wrapped up with a bow. Like, this game was the definition of what we wanted to see the Bruins do, and especially what I thought, at least, Joe Sacco would look like as Bruins head coach, and he's proven me absolutely right. Yeah, Sacco was the assistant coach, Omar. He was the assistant coach before Montgomery, and then he's currently interim, so he's still not officially the head coach, but if this continues, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he could become a head coach for the Bruins. Because his NHL head coaching career in Colorado was not great, but it was certainly good here, at least so far. And a Hampus Lindholm return. I don't have a Hampus Lindholm update, I don't believe. But let me see if there's actually anything. But as far as we know last time, it was Joe Sacco saying still week to week. So as far as we know, that's what it is. And now we have an update 8 days ago here. It was originally a 6-week timeline. Still, I believe, at least that, and then Steve Conroy tweeted, this was 8 days ago. Last time I saw him, which was a couple weeks ago, still walking with a limp. So, I don't know. I really don't know. I hope he's back soon, because even the defense is still looking very good. Hampus Lindholm's a very big piece to miss. And I love to be able to see what he could do right now under Joe Sacco with this team. It's something that would look very, very good, because he's such a good defender that, the Bruins have certainly missed, but have been able to fill that hole pretty well for the time being, at least. But will it be able to last? Will it stay structured? I can say with confidence, I think it can. I think it should, but we really don't know, because we know that Hampus Lindholm is capable of playing a full season, while some other players kind of being in this lineup, like Australia, I gotta say, he's playing very good in this time so far here, but I don't know if I want to see him in the playoffs, Bruins took the offensive zone easily tonight. No pushback from the Caps at the blue line. Yeah, none at all. None at all. But I think this is going to be a big part of them being gassed as well. Just coming off a back-to-back game travel. Not the best look for the Caps, but, I mean, it is tough, especially now, a back-to-back. Yeah, Hampus would look special. I think he really, really would look good under Sacco. Just not even that he would play any different, but I feel like he would have so much more ability, because the team is also playing good around him, and you don't have to just focus on doing it yourself, because that's really what a lot of what we were seeing from Hampus Lindholm was in the beginning of the season. He started off hot, stayed hot, got hurt, and now we're here. That's the best way of putting it. I did want to pull up, what's my other screenshot? I do not have it. I was going to try to find the picture of Pastrnak's injury, but it was such light contact, and the way he kind of just stood there and stretched out afterwards really looked weird to me. It really, really looked weird to me, and I couldn't tell what it was from. I'm not sure what it was. I don't know if it's upper body, lower body, but I seen the uncomfortable type of stance there, and I didn't really know where it started. Yeah, Australia's been very, very solid. He's been very, very good. I think it's just a lot of uncertainty for being able to play, he wouldn't be playing 82 plus, but getting into this playoffs, getting into a team that can adapt very well. All playoff teams will. All playoff teams have been, the Bruins have played in the past, have been able to adapt very well, and you've been able to see the other teams being able to break down positions that we don't have that solid, like, normal guy there. So that's one thing I'm kind of hesitant about, but I do believe he could have success in the playoffs. I just trust Hampus Lindholm more. Frederic needs a reset. Trent Frederic. Okay, I'm going to ask this in the chat now. Do we think Trent Frederic is going to be traded? I honestly, right now, I have no idea. I really, really don't know. There's a lot of people saying it. There's a lot of reports coming out about it, and, I'm trying to cover all of them in the videos to trying to give you guys the latest updates, but everything I'm seeing is just, like, him going everywhere. A lot of teams are keeping an eye on it, but we really haven't seen any progression from that point. So it's tough to say because we know how good he can be. We know how good he can be, especially if he can take a bounce back, but he's one guy that I feel like would be similar to Jake DeBrusk if he goes. Just absolutely tear it up wherever else. So that's what I'm a bit hesitant on. In my opinion, can we take this division? It would be tough. It would be very, very tough. But I do think so. If this team plays the way they're currently playing, Joe Sacco continues to coach the way he's coaching, this team stays healthy, it will be very close, but I do think that they have what it takes to be able to do it. A lot of people might disagree, especially with the lineup, for namesake and name value of the players the Bruins have. Nobody would say, yes, absolutely, they can take the division, but this team has more heart than skill, and that's what matters. I know it's a very corny line, but it is. Like, this, especially with the Bruins. The Bruins are different. It would be different if, the Panthers had heart compared to the Bruins. The Bruins have been such a historic team that it's an honor to play with the Bruins. It's not an honor. Well, I shouldn't say this because obviously I haven't played in the NHL and you might be, but I feel like it's a different aura playing with the Bruins compared to playing with the Panthers. And if this Bruins team, with the players they have, the skill set they have, continue to play the way they're playing, this is going to be something special that we're watching. A lot of people might think that's a bit odd, but I really do. I hope that Freddie sticks around. I think you're right there, Jaden, that it would be around trade deadline if we do see him traded, because I think the Bruins are going to try and push this as long as possible, because if he starts to heat up, that's when we know we're good. And it just scares me, as I mentioned, the Jake DeBrusk possibility-esque for a trade from him. But the willingness to re-sign as well is a big thing. The willingness to re-sign. If they can't re-sign him, you got to get rid of him, get something in return. Something. And you could probably get a bit of value from him as well if he's playing well. He don't want to re-sign. Retain 50%. He's on his final year. There's nothing wrong with that. Mike, they next have Columbus for 2 games. Then we go back to Washington, and then New York, and then Toronto. But those are all after the holiday break and then Boxing Day. So the 27th, the 28th, we have 2 back-to-back games against Columbus. One in Boston, one in Columbus. Then we go to Washington, then we go to New York, and then Toronto. A few games that we certainly should win, but it's going to be tough. But if I see this Bruins team that in those games that we did tonight, no doubt in my mind this team will get a big win of them. Really, I think this is a good set of lineups or matchups, sorry, that we're going to have coming out of the break. That's the thing as well, If Frederic is going to get traded, it's going to be brutally obvious, which is something that sucks. We'll start to see some sort of something happen, whether it is a healthy scratch, something like that. Although that is kind of the normal thing that you see on a trade. We'll see. We'll see well before he gets traded if he's going to be traded or not. But thoughts of John Beecher seemed a little less driven at the start of the season to me. I don't want to say that he's a little less driven, Ryan, but it just seems like we're seeing less of him because everybody else is stepping up. And when we remember the beginning of the season, that fourth line was everything. That fourth line was the Boston Bruins. And although that line may not be as good as it was at the start of the season right now, that line still has the energy. That line of Kastlik, Beecher, and Koepke is still the line that you put out there if you want consistency. And, Beecher may not have been totally big part of that, but the fact that they're still there, I think, is a very important piece of this Bruins team. Yes, maybe a little less driven just because of not being, kind of the highlight of the team. And I don't want to say that he wants to be the highlight of the team or whatnot, but it's just that he's doing his role now. He's not going out of his way to try and create and generate some offense because the team has finally been able to get that going. So he's there to do his job, and I think that's perfect for what him, Kastlik, and Koepke are doing right now. again, if they play like they did tonight, going out of the break, heading into, well above these games here, this is going to be very good. 8-2-1 in their last 11. You know, these games are going to be really important, not just because of, being able to get some wins here, but being able to restart back out hot after that break. That's going to be a big thing as well. Kaslik, I'm seeing a lot of you guys saying you love Kaslik. I do as well. I got to say, I was genuinely thinking about getting a jersey for Mark Kaslik because he's been so good. Like, there's been games where, especially a lot of the games where the Bruins haven't really started off hot. The Bruins are kind of slow get going. A lot of these are on back-to-backs. I'm seeing a lot of this where Kaslik is the guy who just has enough energy to play 120 minutes a night. He could play 2 games in a night, back-to-back nights, and still be fine. And he's out there throwing hits. He's, rimming the puck around, putting the puck on net, getting in the goalie's face, doing whatever the Bruins team needs to do to get a bit of energy. He is doing that every single game in and game out. And, he's the cut of a Bruin. He's the cut of a Bruin. It's just so exciting to watch him play. Like, he's a guy that when you watch play, you want to go put on the skates and just go out and play as well. Like, there's a certain kind of guy that does that. And it's very rare, but Mark Kaslik is one of them. A Kaslik jersey next year, I might have to get it sooner than that. May have to get it sooner than that. He's been incredible. He really, really has. And, this is one guy the Bruins are going to want to keep going with. RFA after this season, which is something that the Bruins have the liberty of being able to re-sign him. 25 years old. This could be a guy that you keep on your team for a long time to be one of those underrated guys. He puts me in mind of a very kind of similar but better skilled hockey player, like Ryan Hartman from the Minnesota Wild. A very similar style to that. Just goes all the time 100%. I'd say a bit of a cleaner hockey player, but Mark Kaslik is a beast. He's absolutely incredible. I do think that Kaslik needs to be part of this team. I think there's no doubt in my mind. I don't think they would have traded for him in that Allmark trade if they didn't plan on keeping him. You wouldn't have gone for like a 1-year rental, Korpisalo, and a first for that. So I do think that he's going to be a big part of this Bruins future, whether he knows it or not. Even just the fan side of things too. Lowry and Geeky, 2 of the most important parts of this team as well. I absolutely agree. Mason Lowry we see how much talent he possesses game in and game out. That's one player I'm very excited to see kind of fit into this team. He already is, but I can't wait to see him become a veteran for this team. I see so much potential, and there's so many similarities of, 2010s defensemen. When the era of the defenseman was there, he is one of those guys. And I'm excited to see. And Geeky as well. Geeky is starting to heat up again, I shouldn't say starting, in the midst of still heating up, and he looks good. He looks like he should be a first baseman. And a first baseman, what am I talking about? I'm in baseball. A first liner. He should be a first liner, and he's absolutely filled that gap. And as long as he stays hot, he still belongs there. A young Foligno. That is exactly Mark Kaslik's kind of role. And Marcus Foligno and Nick Foligno, kind of same thing. Happy holidays, Michael. I do appreciate you being here. Hope you and your family are doing well. Hope you have a safe holidays and just a very good time as well. That's what it's all about. I do appreciate you for being here, though, especially on a Tibbs Eve in Newfoundland, about to be Christmas Eve for me in 5 minutes. But I do appreciate you guys for being here. So most certainly a late one, and going to be trying to get some more streams going too after the holidays. Geeky's starting to get hot and may keep him from being trade bait. That's one thing as well that we're looking at now, because having the trade bait that we did earlier this season, a lot, not even a lot, every single one of those guys are starting to heat up. So this is kind of going to shift it all into a big whirlwind of what the Bruins are going to try to get rid of compared to what they're going to add. Normally we would have seen if Geeky had still struggled or still struggling, and just say Chris Kreider. That could have been an option there that we see maybe him go. But now it's very, very tough. Very, very tough to be able to kind of judge who's going and who's staying. So, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It could even just increase his stuff, but I don't know. I really don't know right now. We'll get a good idea of that as we kind of head mid-January, late January, and then into February. I think Swayman played well, I think he's played a bit underrated, actually, because tonight in this game, he didn't have many shots, 12 shots against 11 saves, but he had to stay hot because he wasn't getting many shots. A lot of those opportunities that the Capitals had were good shots. They were opportunities that could have gone in, and Swayman wasn't staying hot. You never know where the game could have ended up. So I think it's a very sneaky game by Swayman. Yes, and happy holiday. I should say this as well. I didn't mean to kind of leave you guys hanging, but happy holidays to everybody here in this chat, regardless of what you're doing, what your plans are, anything. I appreciate you guys for being here tonight, especially. A lot of times around the holidays now, you're with your families and whatnot and stuff, but we gotta love our Bruins. That's of course. But obviously, if you're with your family right now and you're watching me, go with your families. This stream will be up after. I'll be live again after, most games. That's what I'm trying to get down into a rhythm of this. And I said this the past few streams, trying to get into this rhythm, but it's just, it's tough. Especially it was tough when the West Coast road trip. Those were late games here in Newfoundland. Those games ended like 2:00, so I was like, a bit late. But yeah, I do appreciate all of you guys once again for being here. And yeah, they did win the third period. It was a great effort. It was just an overall perfect game from the Bruins, from Joe Sacco, from Sweeney. I shouldn't say from Sweeney, actually. He built the team, but, could have been a few more additions. But the way he built this team for tonight's game was good. Sacco, it was perfect. It really, really was perfect. And I'm excited to see how this does progress after the holidays. But as it is 2 minutes from Christmas Eve for me, I probably will head out now. I got a few more things to do tonight for work before tomorrow. I want to get some stuff done, so I gotta do a few more videos. So if you are in the stream right now, be sure to hit the sub button. I got some more videos coming out over Christmas, but I do not want to see any of you guys watching my videos on the Christmas day or the holidays or whatever, because be with your families. If you got a bit of time, maybe throw in a Bruins Digest video here and there, but of course, all jokes aside, I hope you guys do enjoy your holidays. I'll still be here in the videos and stuff, but I won't be talking to you guys live face-to-face until after. But like I said, I do appreciate all of you guys here being here for the holiday. I'll call this a holiday stream. But yeah, I'll answer a few more. I won't go just yet, but I got a few more things I want to cover because I see a lot of you guys chatting here. Yeah, Zadorov, great game. Freddie as well. I don't know. That's a tough one that we're gonna, as I mentioned, Aaron. If I didn't see your name in chat, so I believe you just got here, or been here or not chat. You know what I mean. We're gonna see some more of that very soon, and I think it's gonna be one thing to kind of look at and go forward with for a little bit. But right now, I don't know, and I hope they don't need to. But and Mike, yeah, you're to watch the games on Nesson or somewhere else. It'll depend on who it's against, because where I'm in Canada, I don't have Nesson, so either if I stream it, most times it's on Nesson, but if they're playing really any Eastern team and like it's not in Leafs or Habs time zones or whatever, I'll be able to watch it on Sportsnet. But I much, much, much rather watch these games on Nesson. Commentary's better, analysts better, yeah, everything's better on Nesson, to be honest with you. But ultimately, try to watch on Nesson, but I can't always get it there. But yeah, so as the clock strikes midnight, it is. Oh, it's a few minutes after, but whatever. I do appreciate all you guys, as I mentioned. I will be back. Let's try and get a stream going for this, the 28th game of Columbus. I may be able to do that afterwards. I'll be able to let you know, but a few games here, some tough dates. But in the New Year's, we're gonna try to get some more streams going. I hope to see you all here in the chats, kind of going over all of this stuff, looking at these games, because the Bruins got a very exciting, very, very exciting few games coming up after the break, and especially heading into the New Year's. If this team continues, we're in a very good spot. But you know what, Aaron, I might have to. I might have to just to be able to watch the Nesson broadcast. I'm gonna have to. But I do appreciate all of you guys. I'm going to be signing out. Happy holidays to everybody who celebrates. Have a good time. Stay safe. Spend time with your families. I hope to see you guys all again after, or next stream. Videos will be out, though, so be sure to hit the sub button if you want to stay up to date with all of your Bruins news. But that's all I got. If you did enjoy, give it a like. Hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching, guys. I do very much appreciate all of you guys. But I'm signing out. See you later. Have a good holidays and Merry Christmas if you do celebrate.